Cadillac, and General Motors for that matter, needs a full-sized rear-wheel drive luxury sedan to compete with the likes of the S-Class and 7 Series. This is the Cadillac XTS, but guess what? It's not that car. It's a fine car, but it's more like a gap stop measure to get us to that next level. So let's talk about the XTS today. From a styling standpoint, Cadillac has done a great job in maintaining the family resemblance. If this thing looks like the CTS and ATS, well then mission accomplished. But there are a few differences. For one thing, this grille is much bigger and bolder and longer, and they did that on purpose because they want people to see this thing coming from a mile away. You've got these nice LEDs in the headlights that are very visible at night, rake back windshield, everything just kind of fits. I think it looks more compact than it is, but that was by design. Not too much imagination under the hood for the XTS. This is the tried and true 3.6 liter V6 direct injected engine that has been the workhorse for many GM products for the past 7 or 8 years. Now, it achieves 304 horsepower, but it achieves that at 6,800 RPM. So while that number seems good, it's not very good for a vehicle of this size and makes it kind of sluggish. Looks like Cadillac has gone capless with their fuel door, which is a good thing because 17 miles to the gallon in the city means you're going to be taking a lot of trips to the gas station. But it does get 28 on the highway. Now this is all made into a 6-speed automatic transmission, and we'd like to think the next generation XTS, maybe next year, will probably have an 8-speed or better, which will give it better fuel economy numbers. I think the XTS's interior is brilliant. Cadillac has done a masterful job of incorporating these kind of brushed aluminum looking pieces with some really fine wood, plastics, leather. Everything really works. This is probably the best GM interior I have ever seen, and that's saying a lot. One of the things you can get on the all-new XTS is their Q infotainment system, which is brilliant, but it's also very slow. My son was trying to work it today, and being 14 years old and a little impatient, he kept pushing the buttons and waiting. If you do have the patience, it will work, but I also think that version 2 is going to be great. So here are some of the things. You get all these apps. If you click on audio, one thing you could do is you could just slide your finger across for the volume. This really kind of engages the driver. Also, the gauges aren't real gauges. This is basically a computer screen, an LCD screen. This is what you usually find on Land Rovers and Jaguars, and now you find it on a $45,000 Cadillac. General Motors has always been one of the most innovative car companies, and what they've done with the XTS is utilize the space behind the controls. There's a USB port that's nicely lit up. You can put your smartphone in there, and then voila, it's hidden from sight. The XTS is available in 4 trim levels. The base is standard, followed by luxury, premium, and top-of-the-line platinum, as we see here. And because you see this little 4, it means it's got all-wheel drive, which is very important to compete with some of those German cars like the BMW 5 Series. One of the most significant things about the XTS is that it's the first non-performance GM car to receive MRC, or magnetic ride control. That, in my opinion, is one of the most advanced suspension systems you can get. It's the one that Ferrari borrows from Cadillac, and now you can get it on a luxury sedan like the XTS. So as mentioned, this car has 304 horsepower, but you have to get it up to 6,800 RPMs to really achieve that horsepower, and that's not easy to do. So in a standard acceleration, it's fine, but in a situation like this where I'm going about 50 miles an hour and I punch it, just enough of a delay to kind of give you a little bit of a little bit of apprehension when you're merging onto a freeway. But overall, this thing's extremely smooth. The seats are great, and the magnetic ride control really makes a difference to smooth out any kind of rough roads. Really like what Cadillac has done with this car, and I think they've really hit the mark for what they're trying to do, but I also think there's some good competitors out there. And for that reason, we rated it an 85.8, which is still pretty good, but not the top of the segment. So what's the bottom line on the XTS? I really like this car. I think it's a good step in the right direction, but I also think that they could have taken it one step further. And I expect in the next year or so to see some improvements under the hood and with the transmission to make this really a world-class vehicle. Overall, I think if you can get a good deal and negotiate well at your Cadillac dealership, I would highly recommend it. I don't know about the top of the line. $60,000 seems a little much for a car of this size and class. I think one of the middle trim levels is probably more appropriate.